Alright, so to get ready for Prometheus, which is coming out on Friday, and I think all of us movie fans are really excited for my third most anticipated movie of the summer, and I am just bubbling with anticipation. I really cannot wait for this movie. Every time I see a TV spot, I just get, oh, it's freaking me out. I am so excited. Looks to be intensely awesome. So with that coming out this week, I know that most other places around the world have gotten it already, so this might be somewhat irrelevant to you guys, just like when I did the Avengers Week thing, but I wanted to review Alien and Aliens, because I don't really want to review, there's, you know, Alien 3, although that's directed by David Fincher, we don't really like to associate that with him, and we know it's not really his fault it was so bad. Alien Resurrection, you know, not very good. Alien vs. Predator, fun. Alien vs. Predator Requiem, just stupid. So I'm going to talk about the core of the series, really the two that I think are the best. So just to get ready, I will review Alien 1979 and then Aliens 1986, respectively. So today, I'm going to review Alien. Okay, so probably going to be some spoilers in here, but I feel like everybody should have seen this movie at some time. It's not like I'm going to run down the plot, but I might just give something away when, you know, talking about it. But it's been out for a while, guys. You should have seen it, and if you haven't, just go watch it now. Now, Alien is my personal favorite in the whole series. I know I'll explain more why comparisons in my review for Aliens, because I know they are pretty contested about which one people like better. I personally always like the first one better. It has such a fantastic feeling of claustrophobia throughout the entire movie, and it's captured very well by Ridley Scott. I really, especially, I do prefer Ridley Scott a lot to James Cameron as well. Just from the get-go, the movie really exists within itself. It really is just these very few cast members that only interact with each other. You don't get any, from the beginning, they're pretty much cut off from communications with, you know, the outside world, or universe in this case. It's a definite adage for the movie because, and the fact that it is just one alien, it's a very creepy sensation that's added to the movie because it is so isolated, and I think it's absolutely perfect. And just the way he films the sets and the miniatures and just puts it all together, I feel like there's just these visual aspects that add to that very unsettling feeling in your mind. Definitely one of the great achievements of sci-fi and also horror. I mean, horror, I don't even like to classify it as that, you know, put it more towards, you know, thriller, because horror, it's bogged down by so many negative connotations, because it's not like, ooh, pop scare, Alien, no, it's not like that. It's a very well-made film. Alien has some of the most iconic imagery, scenes, characters in cinema. I mean, characters, namely Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, and she is just one of the original female heroines, action heroes, and she is just so fantastic, definitely believable. Real, gritty, fantastic, but at the same time, she's not annoying, she's very likable. Actually, this one thing about most of the cast, they are somewhat likable, so you really care for these characters. I mean, even if it's not like deep emotional connections to them, it's you know, you still strive for their survival, which is something very important, something that I think is lacking a little more so in some of the minor characters in Aliens, but I'll get to that next time. Just from the face huggers and, you know, the chest bursters, just these terms that are just so important in cinema, for sci-fi, for movies like this. It's just so influential, and I love looking at it and seeing all the little things and how they're traced back to you know, different movies here and there. And also, not to mention the fact that this is somewhat of a prequel to, or Prometheus is somewhat of a prequel to this. So rewatching it, I was looking for little things that I can notice from TV spots or trailers from Prometheus, matching them up with here, and I actually did find a lot of things. And I know it's not a direct prequel, it's more so of a conceptual prequel, but just little things that I think Scott does. Like, I remember in the first teaser trailer, it has that iconic, the way it builds in the lettering for the title, you know, starts with the dashes and then builds up the word Alien. They did it for Prometheus, and I thought that was really cool. I think there's going to be a lot of nice, subtle references and, you know, hints for fans, and I think will be very fun in theaters for people who are dedicated fans of this series. And, you know, just also the spacesuits and the helmets are very similar to Prometheus and Alien. They are very similar, and I think that Prometheus is going to draw the most of its references to Alien, just because it, Ridley Scott, he's doing Prometheus, and he did the first Alien. He wasn't very much connected to any of the other films. So I think as far as the story arching goes from Prometheus to Alien, I think it's mostly going to have to do with the first Alien movie. There are also a lot of set pieces on this planet that look, in Prometheus, that look a lot like the cave in Alien, and just very similar things as far as concept designs. Just because Alien has a very, very iconic and recognizable design as far as its features. Honestly, just look at a picture of the Alien and you can see different things. Even layered throughout the Alien films are just these recurrent types of images and designs. And I think one of the most intriguing aspects of the film is the design of the alien, and definitely it's a lot of fun to research this movie. Very interesting as far as the mythologies and design of things. The original design, which eventually was adapted, came from, I think, a Welsh surrealist artist named H.R. Giger, and really he did some interesting stuff as far as when he started to work on the movie and work with O'Bannon and Scott, and he really pushed a lot of very cool imagery and a lot of metaphorical stuff that I think adds to the discomfort created throughout the movie. And it's very interesting to look into the phallic imagery that plays a part in Alien, and and the analogies of rape and parasitism. There's a lot of that in there, especially in these just little designs, and from the eggs to the face huggers. It's very, very detailed, and I think it adds so much more to the films, going back and rewatching them and seeing these things and realizing the psychological effect that has on the viewer, and adds to that really, really awesome intensity of the movie. And that's one of the reasons it's my favorite as well, just because it does play on those fears and subconscious things that are fantastic tools of cinema. And just as a piece of entertainment, it also succeeds on so many levels. It is so edge of your seat. I know some people have claimed it to be boring. There's such a constantly climactic buildup of tension and suspense that is consistent throughout the entire movie. It is fairly simple otherwise in its story, I guess, because it doesn't try to get too deep into backgrounds and origins and mythologies and the fiction of the movie, creating that, which is developed much more later on. There's a lot of inferences for the viewers to make, and I think while there's a lot of other very intriguing stuff going on, it does keep it simple in that regard, which I think is good because it does move the movie along at a fast pace, and I find it to be such a thrilling movie to watch, no matter how many times I see it. The film has a great score as well, and while I said earlier that it is, more simple in its story, I think there are some much deeper psychological things going on in there that play out but aren't necessarily vocalized all the time. And I think touched upon by Ash, played by Ian Holm, when he talks about, the perfect creature and just being able to kill without any imaginary morals or the pretension of morals. And it does dwell into things like that, and I find that very interesting, especially with him. His whole story has a lot of that, especially when he's revealed as an android, and the fact that he, basically does not care about the human life, and his whole objective is to bring this thing back so humans can study it despite its obvious vast risk. There are a lot of things at play in Alien, and they just combine into one of the best movies ever. I love it. One of my favorite movies, up there somewhere. I don't even know rank anymore, but it's a great movie. Everybody should see it. If you're a film fan, you definitely have to have seen it. One of Ridley Scott's best, and I already forgot that, there's also, it's a great cast, too. I mean, despite Sigourney Weaver, I'm not talking well today, and as I said, Ian Holm, and you have Tom Skerritt and John Hurt in there, very young John Hurt. So just overall, fantastic movie, 10 out of 10, obviously, and I am super excited for Prometheus. Hope you guys are too. If you've seen it, if you live somewhere else, or if you have an advanced screening, don't give anything away, but let me know what your thoughts on it are. Or if you haven't seen it yet, let me know what your anticipation is, what your thoughts on Alien are, and I will be reviewing Aliens soon, Madagascar 3, and Prometheus, obviously.